Hi there, welcome back to the channel. We do appreciate you listening and tuning in. Today I'll be talking about something that has been bothering me for the last few weeks. This is the feud with David Lee Roth and Wolfgang Van Halen. We all know that Sammy Hagar is going out with Joe Satriani on tour to kind of say thank you to Eddie, and he's going to play a lot of Van Halen songs, and that's great. I love it. I love that idea. Um, Dave kind of said he wants to go out too. Sammy doesn't want him. They don't get along. That's fine. I get it. But Wolfgang has been saying that the last Van Halen album, A Different Kind of Truth, is not available on streaming services. And I think it was removed as of October 2022. For the most part, Roth was kind of quiet until he pulled out this YouTube segment where he kind of played like a therapist and he's talking to Wolfgang and he says, um, that the album was dead on arrival. It got KTC, kicked to the curb, a complete FP, a face plant, adding son. Commercially speaking, you got your ass handed to you. Hold up. Hold the phone on that one, Mr. Roth. Usually I'm in your corner and I understand sometimes your weird videos and you got to be artistic and I get it and I've been a fan since I was a child. Since I've heard You Really Got Me and I was hooked. And of course Eruption and all you name it, I was a fan, Nayland fan. Roth, Hagar, even Sharon, I enjoyed. I like it all. Let's go back. Released February 7th, 2012. And the album was produced by John Shanks. It debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200 charts. Number 2. You haven't been singing, you haven't been on a full-length album in 28 years. Right? Made it to number 2. It has sold over in excess of 411,000 copies in the United States alone. So it's almost gold status. But let's remember, this is now streaming has taken over. No rock album is selling millions of copies anymore. But if we were put it at not streaming, number 2 would have been like 850, 900,000 back in the day, maybe even over a million back in the day before streaming. It would have been a million seller minimum. Check how much it streamed. We should verify what that is, what happened there. The thing is, there's a lot of good tracks. What I don't like about this album, what pisses me off about Michael Anthony, there since the beginning, is not on this album. For shame. For shame. Wolfgang can play on here too. He's talented. I'm not taking away from that. But that Michael Anthony was not put on here. That was really crappy. Okay? What hurt this album? I think at over 50 minutes long for a Van Halen album, way too long. They should have taken out Outer Space, Honey Baby Sweet Roll, maybe even Bullethead. Take those 3 out. Change the track listing as well. Tattoo, although I love that song, should not have been the first single. Mistake there. Everybody, I think, was disappointed once they heard that song. Tattoo should be moved over. She's the Woman, which is track 2, should be the first one. You and Your Blues should be the second, and then Tattoo third. And then have the rest of the album follow suit. Because you have She's the Woman, You and Your Blues is fantastic. Chinatown is fantastic. Blood and Fire is probably one of the best songs by Dave and Eddie ever. Stay Frosty is a classic. Yes, it's Ice Cream Man. I get it. I know. But it's great. I love the acoustics beginning and then leads into this rock song. Phenomenal. There's a lot of great tracks. Eddie's playing great. Roth's vocals are pretty good on here. The faster songs you can see he's struggling. But Stay Frosty, he's on it. Tattoo, he's on it. The thing is, what I don't like, this is the last Van Halen album. Whether, David, you like this album or not, you are denying people, the fans, not just fans of Van Halen, fans of music, the last recording of Eddie Van Halen, the master of guitar, the master of the riff, of the tapping. We're not going to get him. He's not coming back, man. You got to put this out. I'm happy I have the physical copy. But what are you thinking? I understand it didn't sell as much as you would have hoped for, but you have to realize streaming took over. It's not no album sold like it did before. And that's part of the game now. But historically, that you remove the last album Eddie Van Halen played on. Man, I usually I'm in agreement with you, Dave, on your stuff, and I like your YouTube things. You know, you're pushing the envelope. You're showing us what you got, and your art form. You know, I love it. But this one, Dave, I am in total disagreement with you. I think you're bottom line. I'm sorry to say it, you're an a-hole for not letting us hear this album. That you're denying this album to the fans of music and Van Halen in general. For shame, man. For shame. If anybody knows David Lee Roth, tell him. Tell him Steven from Montreal is royally. I've been a fan since your first album. I was there when Sammy took over. I followed your solo career. I was one of the few guys that bought your solo albums when it didn't sell anymore. I have them all. I have every single one. I supported you guys from A to Z. This is a travesty that you do not have this album available to everyone to hear. And I stick to my guns on that. If anybody knows David Lee Roth, tell him for shame. For shame on him. And if he wants to come see me, bro. I'll talk to you. I'll put you straight. From a fan's perspective. From a fan's perspective. That you deny us this greatness. Who gave you that right? Who gave you that right? Music is for everyone. Not for the select few to choose what we get. A little upset on that one, so sorry. I love this album. I stand by it. I'm glad I picked it up. I do not regret it. Is it the greatest album of all time? Heck no, I'm not blind. It's too long. It's bloated. But they wanted to make everybody happy. They wanted to give us our money's worth. The time frame of a CD is 74 minutes. They wanted to give us as much as they could, and I appreciate that. Were all the songs top notch? No. I'll be honest, no. But are there some really great tracks on here? Hell yeah. Does it deserve to be listened to? Hell yeah. And again, Dave, for shame. For shame that you deny us this. I'm really disappointed in you on this one. And I'm disagreeing with your rationale, with your thought process on this. This is historical. It is the last recording with Eddie Van Halen on it. And the first record with his son on it, Wolfgang. You may not like Wolfgang, you don't have to. But he put him on there because he loved playing with his son. Now, if anybody who's a parent who can feel that camaraderie between a father and son doing something magical together, that it's denied, is a travesty. Is a travesty, in my opinion. But you let me know how you feel. Do you like this album? How do you feel about Roth holding it back? Maybe you hate it, and that's fair. I know some people were pissed because Michael Anthony's on it, and I was too. And I still am. But it should be listened to on the merits. It is the last album with Eddie Van Halen on it. Okay? You let me know what you think. We'd love to hear from you. Share your thoughts with us. This is Steven with my initial thoughts, or my rant, you might say, of David Lee Roth's cluster F on not having a different kind of truth on streaming services. Take care, guys.